Okay, we've got the first notice of appeal on the Murdaugh trial. The notice was filed by Alex Murdaugh's attorneys. Patrick, what do you know about this notice of appeal? This is the first step in the appeals process for a very high-profile case.
Murdaugh's attorneys indicated immediately after the verdict that they were going to file an appeal in this case. And under South Carolina court rules, they have to file the notice to appeal within 10 days of receiving actual notice of the ruling or the order. They filed that yesterday, well, within the 10 days. I guess that was a week after the verdict. And what that does is preserves their right to file a more substantive appeal. The notice to appeal does not provide any of the grounds for the appeal or any of their arguments.
Yeah, and let's talk about this appellate process so people kind of have an idea of how long this process might take. The notice of appeal is just notifying the court that they plan to appeal. And then it will be a much longer period of time. The transcript alone for this trial, it was 6 weeks long. So this is going to be a lengthy process. It's not like within 20 days we're going to see this 200-page brief for the grounds for a new trial or whatever. It's going to take a long time for this appeals process to even really get started in earnest. Patrick, any indication there been any news about when realistically there might be substantive appeals filed in this case? Are they going to have to wait for all of the exhibits to be provided to the attorneys and the transcript to be created? Any news on that front?
Jim Griffin kind of alluded to that it's going to take a period of time for transcript to be processed. So they're not going to file the appeal without the transcript because that's going to be part of the record. They're going to need to include all of that and include their objections and everything else. In Jim Griffin's interview with, I believe it was Court TV, he alluded to the fact that Alex Murdaugh is prepared to be in jail for a while. So it's even when this is filed, it's not like Alex Murdaugh gets out of jail. He's going to be sitting in jail as a convicted murderer in a maximum security prison, it sounds like, for a while. I mean, this process could drag out for years.
No, yeah, that's what I want people to understand is that this appeals processes are not something that happen in 6 months or a year. This is a years-long endeavor that will have to go through the court system there in South Carolina. We were looking at a case that was just overturned on appeal, a murder charge. I think it was 6 years before the Supreme Court of Georgia eventually granted a new trial in that case because the appellate process just takes so long. So anyway, first steps in this will be something we'll continue to watch. May not be anything really substantive coming out on this as far as briefs that we can look at or anything of that nature for quite some time. But this apparently is the next phase in this ongoing saga. The appeals process has started for Alex Murdaugh.
Yeah, they've announced the civil trial case in the Mallory Beach death is going to be in August. So we'll be watching that case as well.
Yeah, and just to remind people what that is, Mallory Beach was a friend of Paul Murdaugh's who was killed in a boat crash that occurred prior to Paul's murder, Paul and Maggie's murder. There was an ongoing civil case and criminal case involving that boat crash. And that's sort of why all of this is wrapped up in the Alex Murdaugh saga, is that the boat crash is kind of the thing that happened that appears to have set a lot of all this in motion as far as uncovering the extent of Alex Murdaugh's financial crimes, the downfall of his law firm, and then ultimately in the mix of this, we had the murder of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh, of which he's now been convicted.
All right, yeah, so we'll keep you posted and share our thoughts on this case as it slowly makes its way through the appellate process. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit that like button so you'll be notified of future videos.